You cannot afford to do what their opponents want. They want you to make this a protest vote. All three of these races, they're saying, hey, you may like these guys, but hey, you know what you got to do? You got to vote against the president. After all, it's your last shot. It's a pretty good scam, isn't it? Give me a 6-year job for a 2-year protest. That's Mark Pryor's opponent's message.
All right, there he is, Bill Clinton in Arkansas, campaigning for Mark Pryor. Joining us now is Brent Budowsky, columnist for The Hill. Hello, Brent. Good to have you back, sir.
Good to be here, Steve.
All right, so let's talk about a lot of, well, we'll get to Bill Clinton in just a second. But in relation to the Senate and everything else, you wrote a piece that the GOP may have peaked too soon. What do you mean by that and why?
Well, if you would have asked me 3 to 4 weeks ago, I would have said there is a possibility, at least, of a Republican wave, and the Republicans at that point, I think, were positioned to pick up a lot of seats. Okay, and then I think the pattern of this election, by the way, in my opinion, is whoever's up gets taken down and whoever's down gets lifted up. And I wrote a column yesterday in The Hill that's pretty much, I think, a 50-50 proposition right now. But I think that what happens is the more the Republicans look like they're going to win big, the more voters will say, well, what do you guys want to do? They take a hard look, and they're not quite comfortable, and they kind of back off. The minute the Democrats look like they're coming back, the voters look at them, and they say, well, you know, with Obama out there and things aren't going that great for us, we're not sure about you guys either. And I have a hunch that what we're going to end up with is a very long night on election night, and we may not even know this thing until Christmas Eve, because I think Louisiana probably goes to a runoff, which itself will be close. So when I said that they peaked too soon, they weren't ready in terms of the Republicans, in terms of what they were offering to voters. Besides, we hate Obama.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know,
right.
you and Tom DeLay agree 100% on that. Just so you know that.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been saying for a long time. Said it this week again that got to put a message out there. Got to tell them what you're going to do. He does think that they'll win the Senate, but he did say that they for months he's been saying put a plan out there. But you believe that Bill Clinton? Do you really believe that Bill Clinton could save the Democrats? Because, of course, Obama's poison. He's been referred to on this show and also by Michael Savage as which I don't particularly like the phrase, but he's been referred to as Ebama or something that regard to Ebola. And, of course, no one wants him near him. And yet he gave a speech the other day saying, all my policies are on the ballot. I may not be, but they all are. And poll after poll shows that the American public doesn't like and doesn't want his policy. So how could Bill Clinton, even with what we heard him say, which basically addresses that, how could he overcome that?
Well, when I say overcome, let's look at the polls in Arkansas a week from today. I mean, he was down there for 2 days. He's been all over that state. Let's see what happens. Now, I predict Pryor will get a bump from the Clinton trip and the Clinton campaigning. How much, we will see. Another race I suspect Clinton will make a big difference is in Georgia. Michelle Nunn has been catching up. At last poll I saw, she was only down by 1, and the Clintons have a presence down there. So if you talk about 2, 3, 4 races where he can make a material difference, I think that for Democrats is a big deal. Obviously, Obama politically is a problem. Now, my take, and I kind of agree with Clinton up to a point. I may write something about this next week.
Oh, good. Put me in the column. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, watch out what you ask for, Steve.
Go ahead. I can take it. Go ahead.
You know, that if you look at Republicans, they really don't have much to offer, if Tom DeLay and I may agree on this, except we hate Obama. And there's more to it. That gets the Republicans, if we use a football analogy, and I'm a big Packer fan, that gets the Republicans to the 30-yard line of the Democrats, okay? That doesn't get them over the goal line. That doesn't close the sale.
Right.
And right now, I think we have neither party has a message. Neither party is making a case. The Republicans didn't close the sale, but neither had the Democrats even begun to make the sale. I suspect we're in a neck-and-neck, down-to-the-wire kind of an election. And I think you'll see much more. I know you'll see much more.
Well, listen, we will have you back. We'll have you back in a week, and we'll look at those polls, and we'll see how that comes. I'm also going to send you the link to the Tom DeLay interview where he said.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he is a smart guy.
Yeah.
I don't agree on anything.
I hear you. Well, you do agree on one thing. Hey, Brent,
good.
Great to talk to you, sir. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Brent Budowsky, ladies and gentlemen, read him at the Hill. And, of course, each year over 4 million people fly on commercial airlines worldwide, but we may never have left the ground if not for the Wright brothers. You know them, you love them. So what we're going to do now on today's American Moment, or this hour's American Moment, is take a look back at this dynamic duo and find out about the history of flying. Watch.
December 17th, 1903 was a calm day at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, when two brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright, readied their aircraft for a demonstration that would change history forever. Their initial flight only lasted for 120 feet, but it was enough to eventually pave a pathway to the stars. Although the brothers were not the first to build and fly experimental aircraft, they were the first ones to invent the mechanical controls that made fixed-wing, powered flight possible. But that proved both a blessing and a curse to an industry in its infancy. The Wright brothers' practice of demanding excessive fees for use of their patents and their litigious nature had an immediate and negative effect on the growth, safety, and improvement of the new industry of aviation. In 1917, Congress, recognizing air power would play a vital role in the upcoming war, passed legislation which, in effect, reduced the Wright brothers' royalty of $1,000 per plane to $200. The reduced fees sparked an explosion of growth and innovation in the new industry. Although initially outraged, the Wright family quickly realized the lower fees made it possible for more airplane manufacturers to enter the field. With more manufacturers came more planes, and with more planes came more royalties. Soon after, their royalties had exceeded $2 million in an age before income tax. Soon America was leading the air revolution. In 1927, young aviator Charles Lindbergh departed New York's Roosevelt Field for a 3,600-mile, 33-and-a-half-hour transatlantic journey to Le Bourget Field in Paris, France. The dream of the Wright brothers had become a reality, and America had led the way thanks to Orville and Wilbur Wright. For Newsmax TV, I'm Bill Curtis, and this is an American Moment.